Hi there, Run Meteorologist Robert Spenny here with you on today. It is currently the 21st of February 2014, a Friday out here in the Western Pacific. Now, starting this video update out a little bit different than usual, just showing you our new studio. Also have a few screens on the side here, hopefully going to help add into informing you as far as the weather out here in the Western Pacific. But also, we're going to be testing out new Google Hangouts on Saturday, the 22nd of February. So do stay tuned for that, because we are going to be talking about not only, well, testing out these new features, but also this tropical area out here in the Western Pacific, which we have been watching all week, and it's a possibility of it developing. So today we're going to get right into talking about this new area now towards the southeast of Guam. I'll move myself out of the way, and you can see it right there. Some burst of convection. It's nothing too pretty at this time, to be honest with you, and it's way out here. So if you are in the Philippines and you're worried about in the near term, and I have seen some graphics from other posters out here who have been posting that this is going to be going over here towards the west and slamming into Manila in the next, granted, several days. Not happening. And if you're going to forecast for any specific cities at this point, I mean, take a look at that satellite picture. It's very disorganized. There's not even at its genesis phase right yet. So we still have a lot of time to watch this storm system develop. Keep that in mind as we go through this update here today, because we're going to go through several different model runs, and we're going to talk about how this is going to be developing and where exactly is it going to be going. Now, first thing I want to tell you about, though, is let's look at what's happening out there right now. Well, at least across the Western Pacific, you notice a lot of clear air here towards the north. Beautiful weather across Japan, Korea, over towards China. Keep that in mind when we're talking about the forecast of the storm system, because all that is coming in from this high pressure, and that high pressure is going to act like a wall. It's going to do either one of two things, though. With our tropical system, if and when it does develop, it's going to move either towards the south, pushing across parts of the southern Philippines, or churn towards the north. More likely scenario, this northerly progression and this northerly churn is going to be occurring out here, and that's definitely a very decent, at least, possibility going through the next several days. Now, another thing that we're taking a look at least as far as today is concerned, is the different models, and let's go through. And at this point, we really have to kind of look at the different models, because as far as the genesis is with the storm system, like I said, it is still in its early phase, and it's out here. And as far as where it's going to be going, we really, at this time, it's very theoretical, and we have to look at different circumstances plus climatology and what that's going to be telling us. Now, the big thing I can say at this time, though, is a lot of these islands out here in Micronesia are looking at some fairly heavy rain over the coming week. Not the Philippines, but I'm talking about Guam, specifically Yap. You could be looking at some pretty heavy precipitation. So the first model I want to go through is the GFS long range here. And well, right now, let's take a look at what's going to be happening over the next several days. And you can see our low-level center developing there towards the southeast of Guam, going through the next 24 hours. Remember, granted, this is the most aggressive of the models. You're going to see what I'm talking about when I go to the other different several runs from the different agencies from around the world as far as the global models are concerned. This is going to stay south of Guam, though. Still bringing some fairly gusty winds out here, mainly due to the interaction with the northeast monsoon. This is all indicating winds around tropical storm strength there in the blue. And then we're talking about the higher winds down here, plus the rainfall is going to be basically associated with that center right there towards the south. But this continues to move towards the west, and look at that in the long range. And we're talking about about a week from today, Wednesday through Saturday of next week. This just basically parks over Yap, and it lingers there, and at least given at this time, it looks like it's going to be bringing some pretty nasty weather towards the islands down here, and plus some heavy rainfall. I mean, take a look at the 96-hour forecast. Rain just continuing to linger here around the Philippine Sea, and if it does park over one particular one of these islands, we're looking at a long duration rain event if that scenario was to unfold. Granted, a week out. I like to say if beyond 5 days. Right now, as far as the forecast is concerned, the next 5 days, I do think this is going to have slow genesis. We could see a tropical depression over the weekend south of Guam, bringing some rainfall out here, and really it is going to be lingering, though, over the next 5 days, way out here. Now let's compare this up with, well, first the ECMWF model, and really through their long range, look at that. This is by, shoot, the 2nd of March. Really not much to talk about there. We'll zoom in on it, and you can see what I'm talking about even more so here with this particular ECMWF run, and it just lingers there. There's our low-level center right over here, just towards the south of Yap. The wind's off towards the north, but nothing, albeit too organized. All it is a low-level circulation with the northeast monsoon towards the north. That is caused by that high pressure I was talking about. And the ECMWF model keeps this more so with that high pressure pushing this farther and farther south. If that was to take place, we wouldn't see it recurve to the north immediately, but you can see here near the end of the model run, it starts to weaken, and that would cause it to turn towards the north. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Still a week out, but there is a possibility of this continuing to progress west, impacting southern parts of Faxai, even northern Mindanao, as a very weak system, granted, and something much like Basyang, it really just a disorganized tropical depression. If that scenario was to take place. If the stronger GFS scenario was to take place, though, it would likely just turn towards the north. Now, that is the ECMWF. Compare this up with the NavGem, another model. You don't want to just look at one, and I know there's people out there who just stare at the GFS and believe that is the end-all and says-all, but this is a NavGem going ahead all the way out until, well, shoot, this is the end of February, bringing some heavy rainfall to Yap and Palau. And like I said, I think that is the main threat at this time, is going to be the rainfall threat out here for those islands there in Micronesia. That is just one particular model, yet again, showing that rainfall risk for a lot of you here. So if you're watching here from Chuck Karor, just pay attention over the next several days as this does develop, because it very well could be a big rainmaker for a lot of you. Now, as far as the Philippines is concerned, I'm not going to say anything 100% just yet. Main reason is that placement of the high off here towards the north. You can see it here on that run. Just take a look where I have our mouse, where that high is placed. Now, if that whole ridge stays in place, yes, this will continue to drift towards the west. If it gives way, which very well could as well, and it lifts back towards the north, we're getting to that time of year where it could start to lift back towards the north, and Westpac High is going to push this, then enough troughing is going to be in place to turn this towards the north. I think over the weekend we're going to have a much better handle and a much better grasp on what that's going to be happening. And tomorrow's Google Hangout, we're going to go through and talk in detail about this forecast. So right now, this is the cone of air. It's massive. I understand that. But I think with that high pressure moving towards the west, we're probably going to see this recurve towards the north at this time. But that due west line, it's very well in the cards. For now, though, out until where you see that first curve in the line just towards the west of Guam and right around Yap, I'm fairly confident that is going to be taking place. Or we can take a look at that GFS model run again out to about 72 hours. Basically, I'm fairly confident this is going to be taking place. This is going to slowly develop and move slowly towards the west as a low-pressure center out here through Micronesia. And I mean, that's out to about 114 hours, so this is still all the way out till next Tuesday. That's something to keep in mind. Right now, JMA isn't even talking about this at this time, and that's another thing to keep in mind. Look at that. This is your current analysis from JMA, a low-pressure area, and if we go out to 48 hours, they still have a low-pressure area right there, and they're not expecting anything more significant than that at this time. It's just a low pressure center. JTWC actually doesn't even have any risk of development up on their website as well at this time. So right now, this is still a very early look. I know a lot of you are worried, and especially after Haiyan, you have right to be, but at least at this time, I wouldn't get too fed up with it. Enjoy the nice weather you are seeing, at least for now. And also across much of northeastern Asia, you're seeing absolutely beautiful weather out there. So do go enjoy it for the time being. We'll update you when a serious threat comes into play. Wow, another 10-minute long update. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, I always appreciate your feedback, everybody. So please post them down there in the comment box below. Also, let me know if you watch this update all the way through. I know it's a little bit different today, and definitely we're trying out these new different aspects, but I noticed no one posted when I asked yesterday if anybody watched all the way through, so I'm thinking I probably should keep these updates a little bit shorter. Stay safe out there, everybody, and thanks again for watching.